before. Oh. Oh. No problem, but you did very well because you see there is a technique of taking it out and the teacher has to know in mind. I took out the contrast, the extremes, and I kept them together so the child was able to see immediately. Then I took them out randomly and from anywhere, but I kept them in sequence. I didn't do that. I kept them in sequence and she did exactly that. And she did a duplicate or replica of the presentation, so that was really good. Good child. Thank you, child. Okay, let's go and put it back. Together a set of 4 cylinder blocks. These are the cylinders, and that's the example I gave that once in Casa di Bambini, Dr. Maria Montessori, she saw a little 4-year-old child working with the cylinders, and she was totally focused on this. And by the time she was done, and the little girl, she was looking fresh, not tired, unlike us, the adult. So that is the magic of the material. It satisfies the child's inner urge and his tendency for repetition. So that provides that. Here the language that is given, and I will show you how to give the language in one of the presentation. It is thick and thin. He is able to visually see it. This is thick, this is thin. A technique called 3-period lesson is used. Then the language in this is big and small. And look at that. From when you come and see it from top, they look identical. It's only when you take it out you realize, oh, this is so small. What is this? Tall, short. Tall, short. And in this cylinder, there is a language that is given, but it is not given through the cylinders. It is given in the block. We call this deep. That is deep. You can take a toothpick or a stick and show the child that is deep, and this is shallow. Okay. After the cylinder block, we have something for dimension, and that is known as the pink tower. If you could peek through that. I wanted to keep it outside, but it may drop the... That is the pink tower when the student come. Many of the presentation, as I said, that it is done on the floor. And child in EPL already knows how to roll a map or a mat and how to fold a mat. He knows that. So we are going to give the presentation on this side. You can see it. Oh, that's not working. So you could, I'm sure all of you could see. If not, you can just come closer because we will be using the mat and we'll be carrying it from here. A new child, work something with something that is even pink. I'll tell you what it is. Okay, come along with me. But first of all, let's spread the mat. Could you do that? All right. Please help Auntie with that. Thank you. Look at this. This is the pink tower. What is that? Pink tower. And you're going to draw it. Auntie's going to show you how to hold it. Watch me. Look. You should hold the other one. Right, let's put it here. So take another one. I take one, you take another. Hold it like this. Bring the last one. Keep it in Jenny, have a seat.
Built a tower. Let's stand up and take a look at it. Oh, look how different it looks like this. Huh? Let's take a look all around. Hey, there's another way of looking at it. Sit down. See how it looks like this. Ooh. Goes up and gets tiny. Would you like to build a pink tower? Wow, amazing, isn't it? Okay, much later, and the child continues, he can dismantle it and rebuild it as many times as he likes. Notice few of the things. Later on one day the teacher is just observing the child and she's watching on it and she's seen that this child has done this. So then she decides that I can intervene and she can show him a new exercise by showing him that, look, I'm going to show you something. You made this. Let's check something. Is it the same? And you pass it around and you will realize this is the tiniest cube and the biggest one is 10 times that. We told you this material is made scientifically. Not any toy factory can make this, but it's made to exactness. All over the world, the pink tower is pink and it looks like that. If Montessori didn't have that, today these will be all multicolored, different size, different shapes and so on. That's how from day one the material, it's been modified maybe slightly, but it's the same because the aim is the same. Here, once we were holding it, look what we did. To hold the tiny one, you just do that. And as the size increases, maybe we can just do that. This one, you see, and by the time we are holding the last one, the child is experiencing not only visually, but all his, and these are our big hands. The child has a tiny hand. 2.5, 3-year-old child, he has to stretch his entire hand, open it out like that, and yet the weight of this is so heavy for him that he needs to put his other hand to support it. Once the child has finished working with it, do we leave the material like this? First time the directress will help the child and later on the child will work on his own. For the child to decide from here which one will go next, that's quite a job. And how careful he has to be. And then the child can continue putting back the rest. I'll use the mic to. No, we'll ask the child to. Let's fold the mat also. Rolling the mat. There are some mats that's kept rolled in the environment. Folding the mat. There are some mat that's stacked up. But all floor activity, there is the use of this mat. The directress sees that the child, I should use the mic. Okay, let's just put that. That we can give the child. The tiniest one is known as small. The biggest one is big. Big, small. Big, small. Later on, we give them the comparative and superlative like big, bigger, biggest. The last three would be big and the last one will be the biggest. Big, bigger, biggest. And the last three at the top will be small, smaller, smallest. And that is done in all. 3-period lesson, the language is given, the contrast you show, the tiniest one and the biggest one. Later on, gradation can be done and we will show you in the different presentation. After that, there is yet another exercise presentation for the visual sense and it deals with the dimension, the length. It is known as the number rods or the red rods. It's a floor presentation. Why? Because it's easy to do it on the floor. As simple as that. Remember that. So I'll select another child. Hello, how are you? Anjum is going to work with something very interesting today. Would you like to work with me? Okay, then come along. Keep it here.
English.